Herkese merhabalar. Bugün Study in UK olarak University of Loughborough temsilcisi Katie'yi ve Marketing Departmanı çalışanı Ece Hanım'ı ağırlayacağız. Kendileri University of Loughborough'ın offer holder öğrencilerine özellikle bundan sonra yapılacak işlemlerle alakalı bilgi verecekler. Kendilerini alabiliriz.
Hi everyone.
Hi Katie, hi Ece.
Merhaba.
Merhaba.
Yeah, I'll just introduce myself first. So I'm Katie. Nice to meet you. I'm the regional manager for Turkey within the global engagement team here at Loughborough. So I'll be doing the most of the presentation today. But I've also got my colleague Ece with us as well. So please introduce yourself.
Merhaba herkese. Ben Ece, Loughborough'ın marketing departmanında çalışıyorum. Master'ımı da İngiltere'de yapmıştım. İngiltere'de yaşam açısından sorularınızı bana yönlendirebilirsiniz. Hoş geldiniz.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you. So I'm going to just move through the presentation. I think on the call today, we've got a mixture of people. So I think some of you have already applied. Some of you are thinking about applying. So hopefully this will just give you a little bit of an overview of Loughborough so you get to know us, and hopefully it'll make your decision either to apply to us or to confirm your place to study with us. So firstly, I'm just going to run through what I'll cover. As I mentioned, my name's Katie, so I'm the regional manager for Turkey. I may have met some of you before, but if not, it's lovely to meet you virtually. I'm just going to run through some things today. So firstly, our location, a little bit about our top quality education, and then moving on to our employability. Talking about our student experience as well, and Ece can share a little bit of that. She's not a student from Loughborough, but she did come and study in the UK, so she can explain a little bit how that's different to in Turkey or back in her country. And then we've also got entry requirements, scholarships, and how you can find out more to make those last decisions about where you want to study. So the basics about Loughborough, there's a nice picture here, and actually I'm proud to say I took this picture myself on campus actually last summer, but it is as beautiful as this at the moment. I was on campus yesterday, and some of you might have seen my little video to advertise this session. So this is our main building. This is the Hazelrig building. It's mainly administrative building now, but actually back a long time ago when the university was founded in 1909, this was actually one of the main education buildings within the university. We're kind of like a medium-sized university, so we've got about 20,000 students within the university, lots of undergraduate students, some doing foundation, postgraduate tour, and also we have research level students as well. We do actually have two campuses. So we are Loughborough University, which is based in the East Midlands, but we also do have a London campus as well. So I'll tell you a little bit more about both campuses. In terms of rankings, we're very strong. So we feature in the top 10 in the UK rankings, and good world rankings for lots of different subject areas as well. And we are a multidisciplinary university. I'll tell you a little bit more about the different courses that we have, but we offer a range of different courses, and sometimes it's possible to combine more than one subject as well, particularly at undergraduate level. So as I mentioned, we are one university, but we have two locations. Our main campus is in Loughborough. Don't be afraid by the word Loughborough. I know it looks quite difficult to pronounce, but it's actually quite simple, just Loughborough. And it's a beautiful place. It's a very small town. But then we do have that second option of you to study in London. So if some of you want to go to a big city, we do have some options there. The London campus is exclusively postgraduate students, mainly international students as well, whereas the Loughborough campus has got the full range of levels and also a wider range of courses as well. So where is Loughborough? As I mentioned, it's probably somewhere you may not have heard of before you come. I'm not from Loughborough originally. I'm actually from South Wales. I moved up to university in Birmingham, and then I came to work at Loughborough 2 years ago. And actually, I'd never been there before I come to work at the university, but it's a beautiful place. It's a small market town. So if you're in big cities, if you're in Istanbul or Ankara, for example, it's probably going to be quite different to the experience of those big cities. But the university and the town are basically one and the same. So it's like a campus university. So everyone is studying on the same location. We do have nearby cities as well. So if you do want to go for bigger, different choices of restaurants, different places to shop, there are big cities nearby. So Leicester, Derby and Nottingham are all within about half an hour maximum. We have really good transport links as well. So if you do want to go down to London, it's just 90 minutes. I was down at our London campus last week and I just got the train down. And you can actually use both campuses. We do tend to find students stick to their campus, but it is an option. You can visit both campuses during your time. We do have an airport quite nearby as well, so East Midlands Airport, and there are some options for you to fly there. I live quite near to Birmingham, and I always fly to Birmingham Airport, and we do also have options to fly to London Heathrow, and we do airport pickups there as well nearer your arrival time. So I love this photo because it shows what the campus was like a very, very long time ago, and it shows you how small we were. So these two buildings were the main buildings. One of those was accommodation and one of those was where all the kind of lectures and teaching happened. Those two buildings are still there. In fact, I work in one of those buildings, and one of those buildings was what was featured in that first photo. Now we look quite different. So we've grown, expanded the university campus. And this is kind of an outline of what the campus looks like. Some of the buildings here are actually private accommodation. There are residential houses here as well. But the majority on this photo here is the Loughborough campus. One of the things I really like about this picture is it shows you how green our campus is, and how we've got a lot of integrated sport facilities. I'll talk a little bit about sports facilities later, because it is a big part of life at Loughborough, but everything is on this main campus here. We have all of our academic facilities, accommodation, we have places to eat, coffee shops and stuff like that. So it is really a big atmosphere that's built on campus. As I mentioned, we have the London campus as well. So this shows you that it's a very different experience. It's obviously nearer to London. It's just outside of London in a place called Stratford, which was actually an area that was developed for the London 2012 Olympics. Is one of the reasons we chose to base ourselves there, because of our links with sport, and that is exclusively postgraduate programs down there. In terms of campus facilities, Loughborough will really become your home away from home. So everything is on this one site. We've got a medical centre, we have an opticians, dentist, pharmacy. We've got lots of student rooms. We'll talk a little bit about that as well later on. And we have shops, restaurants, bars, nightclubs. The Students' Union, which is kind of like a society that you join up to once you become a student at the university. And there's lots of different clubs and societies you can join through there. We have world-class facilities in terms of sport. A 50-metre swimming pool, which is Olympic sized, and we've got stadiums. We've even got a beach on campus as well if you want to play beach volleyball. So you can get involved in lots and lots of different things. We do also have dedicated study spaces. We have a 24-hour library on campus. It's 24 hours during exam times, and students do use it to go and revise and prepare for their examinations. You'll see on the slide here, we actually have a bus as well. So that's the Kinch bus service, and that goes around campus. It takes students to all the different facilities, and it also goes to the accommodation, and it takes people into the town centre and also to the train station as well if you want to connect to a different city. This is a short video. We're not going to play this now, but we will be able to post the link. And it's also available on our YouTube channel. So just to mention that, YouTube's got a lot of resources there. So if you want to find out a little bit more, but this is one of our recent campaigns to say, we would like to come and welcome you to Loughborough. And so you can get involved in lots of different research and things with us. So briefly talking about rankings, they are important. And one of the things I would say about Loughborough is we are very strong. So we generally finish in the top 10 for undergraduate rankings, so the UK rankings. We're just over the 200 mark for the world rankings, but we do have a lot of subjects which feature very, very highly. So sport-related subjects, for example, are first in the world. Things like mechanical engineering, the School of Art and Design, a lot of those are very, very highly ranked as well. So do look at the rankings. It's good to get an indication. And one of the things that I like about Loughborough is we finish very similar across the league tables, which means you can be a little bit more confident in the level that we're at. So the world rankings I've listed here, as I mentioned, 212 in the world rankings, number 1 for sport, top 50 for art and design, we're top 100 for things like communication and media, mechanical engineering, and top 150 for business, psychology, structural engineering, and top 200 as well. So there's a huge range of courses which are very, very strong. We also have other achievements as well. So things like our research is extremely strong. So we're not part of the Russell Group. Some of you may have heard of that, which is a group of research intensive universities. However, even though we're not part of the Russell Group, we are a very research focused university. We get a lot of grants to carry out research, and it means you as students can get involved in that during your time studying with us. Our facilities are great. We're very, very good for student experience. We have a dedicated student experience team that will be in touch with you even before you arrive to help you settle in to life in the UK and life at Loughborough or Loughborough, London. And our employability is particularly great as well. And that's one of the things we're proud of at Loughborough, because obviously we want to welcome you to the university, but one of the things we're really hoping for is to get you a good job and set you off onto your career once you've studied with us. We also have really good student satisfaction. And again, that's something I'm really proud of, because we speak to our students, we ask them what they think about their time at Loughborough, and our feedback that we get is extremely positive. And so you can trust that, you know, when we've got student ambassadors telling us that they really like their study with us, we can trust them better than me talking to you. We are also triple gold as well. So we have recently received this a couple of years ago. So that's for our teaching excellence. And just moving on to our subject areas, this slide is a little bit small, so hopefully you can see it, but it lists all of our different subject areas that we have within the university. So we have the School of Mechanical, Electrical and Manufacturing Engineering, the School of Design and Creative Arts, we have the Aeronautical, Automotive, Chemical and Material Science Engineering, Architecture, Building and Civil Engineering. Then we have the Business School as well, so Loughborough Business School. We have School of Art, Sport and Exercise Science, a School of Science where you'll feature things like computer science, chemistry, maths, and then social sciences, with things like political science, international relations, media, fits. We're also introducing law, that will be offered from this year in London campus at postgraduate level, and then we will also offer that at undergraduate level from 2026. Then finally, Loughborough, London, there's lots of institutes down there, so there's lots of different areas that you can study: design, innovation, digital technologies, diplomacy, sports management and stuff like that. You may find that you are interested in courses at both campuses if you're a PG student, and it's absolutely fine if you wish to apply to both campuses. We just have one start date per year for our main campus, so that is in September or October time, and then the London campus has two start dates, so we have a January start date and a September or October start date as well. If some of you are not studying the right level of qualification, or maybe if you haven't done A-levels, IB, or if you've maybe not done quite so well in your previous qualification, we do have options for foundation as well. So I've just briefly touched on that. We work with Cambridge Education Group, so they offer a range of foundations which you're allowed to study for 1 year before you come and join us at Loughborough. It is actually offered at the Loughborough campus. You don't have to study somewhere else. You will be a Loughborough student throughout. So that's a good option for some of you as a backup, or as a way to bridge between the current education system that you have and what we offer. So just touching on entry requirements, I know some of you have already applied, so congratulations to those of you that have already got an offer. But for those of you are thinking about applying, this kind of outlines what we're looking for. So in terms of A-levels or IB, we will generally look for around AAA to ABB in those grades. You can check all of this entry requirements on our website as well. We do actually accept the Turkish High School Diploma for direct entry as well, so you don't necessarily have to do a foundation. And that there are particular grades that we will ask for in that, usually somewhere between about 75 to 85%, depending on the subject. If you're studying both, and that's sometimes what we do see from students from Turkey, is that you're maybe studying A-levels or IB as well as the diploma, we can do an either or offer. So you don't necessarily need to do brilliantly in both of those. So maybe focus on one, but we'll highlight that in your application. And if you've got any questions about the offer that we make you, please check that with Study In, and they can refer that back, and we can help you out with that there. For postgraduate taught, we tend to look for what we call a 2-1 in the UK, or a second upper class degree, and that's the equivalent of around 3.0 GPA. So that should get you into pretty much all of our programs at Loughborough. If you want to do a research degree, we'll potentially look for a master's as well. Not always, but sometimes we will need a substantial amount of research study that's done in your bachelor's level degree. Students will also need an English language qualification, and that doesn't necessarily need to be taken before you apply. So you can apply first and then take that IELTS or TOEFL a little bit later. Generally, we're looking for around a 6.5 in that subject. There are a couple that ask for a little bit higher, so do check your offer letter. When you apply to the university, Loughborough is pretty quick. We tend to turn around our offers quite quickly. You'll probably hear within around 5 to 7 working days for a postgraduate application. Undergraduate, sometimes a little bit longer because it's governed by the UCAS deadlines, but we'll try and get those out as quick as possible as well. And then the offer that you will get will clearly outline the conditions that we're asking you for. So that could be for a particular grade, it could be for particular subjects. You will need to submit a full application with references, but that's why we've got our colleagues at Study In to help you with that application process. So don't worry too much about that. They can help you with the whole application process and help you understand your offers clearly as well. So careers and employability. Again, this is something that's really, really strong at Loughborough. One of the things that probably differentiates us to some universities in the UK is that we actually do offer a placement year on every single one of our undergraduate courses. So if you are coming to study with us, say, for example, mechanical engineering, you can do a 4-year course and you will actually spend the 3rd year of that course on a work placement. You could work with a company either within the UK or it could be internationally as well. And it gives you that real life work experience. And that is available on every single one of our courses. For some courses, it's compulsory. So for example, for business school, you will need to do that. And things like architecture as well. It's an integrated placement year. But on a lot of the other courses, it is optional. I would say I always encourage it because it's a good way to make yourself stand out to other graduates. If you have that opportunity to do it, it just means you can really get yourself ahead when you're looking for jobs after you graduate. We do things like Personal Best Award as well, which is kind of like a professional development qualification alongside your studies. So it enhances your experience and skills when you're with us. We do one-to-one careers advice, so we can give you guidance about the types of jobs that you can do afterwards. Sometimes you know what you want to study at university, but you may not know what you want to do next, and that's absolutely fine. And that's what that team is there for, to support you and give you some guidance on what you might do. It's also another reason why it's quite good to do that placement year, because it gives you an opportunity to see whether you're interested in a particular type of career. More and more on our postgraduate courses as well, we don't necessarily have what we call a placement year because it's only a 12-month program, but we have things like the collaborative project, which is offered down at London, where students can actually collaborate with a company and do a project with them instead of doing a dissertation. And that's also available on some of our Loughborough programs as well. So it gives you that chance to have some experience. So maybe if you don't want to do that long dissertation, you could focus on a different type of project, which will allow you to get some experience and some integration with companies. There are options to do things like study abroad as well. So if you don't want to do a work placement, but you fancy going to study in another country, we have lots of links with places all over the world. So sometimes in Europe, like Italy, Spain, for example, but then further afield. So Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, USA. And again, it gives you a different flavour to add to your degree. So it can broaden your horizons and give you something else to stand out to as well. We do also have an option for you to set up your own business as well. So quite a few students do this. So we have some of our entrepreneurial business students, not necessarily just doing business, but they may be already have a company, or they may be interested in setting something up, and Loughborough can support them to do that. And that's a really good way. So you, instead of doing your placement year, if you wanted to, you can actually set up your own company and run that with the support of the university. So just again, to some highlights. So for employability specifically, we are very, very highly ranked for that. And 100% of our courses, I mentioned before, have that offer of a work placement. We have lots of different placement and vacancies for internships, which we will advertise, and we will encourage students to go on them as well. What I would always say in terms of employability is that you need to use the service. So it's a free of charge service that we offer at the university. So come along and meet us. We have, during the welcome week, when you join the university, we have sessions where you can meet the careers team. And I would always encourage students to come along to those, because it gives you an opportunity to find out more about all the different things that you can do within the university. So I've already mentioned that one. And yeah, as I mentioned, there's lots of different ways to enhance it. So the hands-on experience through placements, opportunities to travel, and also the business ideas as well. So, and sometimes students will do a little bit of all of these. So they may get some hands-on experience through an internship, do a little bit of traveling as well, maybe do a summer school overseas, and also have a think about setting up their own business. So in terms of the student experience, we always say when you join Loughborough that you are joining the Loughborough family. And it sounds a little cheesy, but it is very true. It's extremely friendly on campus. As I mentioned, I'm not from Loughborough. I joined 2 years ago, and it was one of the things that struck me straight away when I walked onto the campus was how friendly everyone was. And it's the same for staff and students. So hopefully you will have the same experience when you join us. We also have the Students' Union. As I mentioned, this is run by students for students, and there's lots of different clubs and societies you can join up to there. We have 170 different clubs and societies. Some of those are related to your course. So we may have like a mechanical engineering society, for example, but then we have things that are completely different. So volunteering, hiking, lots of different sports ones, but then there's even stuff like Harry Potter Society or baking is a popular one as well at the moment. So lots of different things you can join up to. And there's just some examples of the ones there as well. Halls of residence. So this is also known as accommodation. So we call it halls of residence in the UK. And we actually have 16 different undergraduate halls of residence within the university. And you can choose which to live in. We also have postgraduate as well. So for those of you who are thinking about postgraduate level, we do offer that too. And we will guarantee it for international students for at least the first 2 years or for the duration of the programme for postgraduate students. It's all single bedrooms, so you don't have to share with anyone else. And then we will offer you the opportunity to choose whether you want ensuite, which is a little bit more expensive, but you then have your own bathroom and shower facilities within there. You'll always have a kitchen, but we do also have an option to do self-catered if you want. So you can then cook for yourself, or we do the catered option where you get all of your meals provided. Sport is quite big as well. So Loughborough and sport go kind of hand in hand. We offer sport-related programs, as I mentioned before, but there's also a real strong opportunity to get involved in sport as part of your studies. So you can, if it depends what level you're at, but we have elite athletes that are Olympians or aspiring Olympians, but then we also have people that have never played any sport before and they just want to get involved. So we really encourage that. And it's also, if you don't want to play any sport at all, that's also absolutely fine. But you may want to go and watch some sport that's on campus. So we regularly have sports games, big activities on campus, and it's always really good to get involved in those as well. And there's just the sports club, so pretty much everything they're offered. So if you are interested, if you do play to quite a high level, what I would say is get in touch with us before you come to the university, and we can link you up with coaches. And there's a video as well that I just skipped over that tells you a little bit about sport, and it tells you that everyone can play. So whatever level you're at, whether it's just for fun or whether you want to come as an elite athlete. Okay, so for international students, we offer dedicated support. So we have my team, which is called the Global Engagement Team. I sometimes travel out, so I'll visit different overseas places. I was in Turkey a couple of months ago. I actually came to the study-in office in Istanbul and met with some of the team. So we come and meet you, but we also are here to speak to you online. So if you want to have conversations one-to-one with us, we're happy to do that as well. We also offer things like pre-sessional support. So if any of you are studying, are struggling to get to the right English level, we can offer that for you as well. So we have pre-sessional courses. Then we also offer in-sessional English support. So you're obviously at the right level when you join the university, but if you need some more support about your English, we can offer that when you're studying with us. We do pre-departure sessions as well. So in the next couple of months, those of you that are thinking about joining this year will be invited to our dedicated pre-departure sessions. And that's usually a way for you to find out exactly what you need for the next steps to enroll at the university, what to bring, what not to bring, and kind of a little bit about what life is going to be like in the UK. We have induction program as well, and that continues throughout the time. So we have an induction and welcome week, but then we continue to run a range of social activities, so encouraging you to meet other international students. We also have the International Student Advice Team. So if any of you do need a visa to apply, they can help you with that, or anything else like financial support, all of those kind of things. They are there to support with that as well. We also have cultural societies, religious societies. So we've got prayer rooms on campus. We offer halal food if anyone needs that. So we offer something for everyone. I think I'm going to stop talking slightly now and ask for Eche just to come in because we're on the sort of international student slide. So yeah, Eche, if you wouldn't mind coming in and just sharing a little bit about your experience of coming to the UK as an international student.
Yeah, that's all right. Ben İngiltere'ye master'ım için gelmiştim. İngiltere'yi seçmemin nedenlerinden bir tanesi de İngiltere'de master yapmak için tez yazmanızın gerek olmadığı, yani tez yazmak gerekmiyor İngiltere'de master yapmak için mezun olduktan sonra. Nedenlerden bir tanesi İngiltere'yi seçmemin buydu. Diğer bir sebep de Katie'nin bahsettiği gibi iş bağlantılarının gayet güçlü olması İngiltere'de. Yani Loughborough'da bu konuda gerçekten güçlü bir üniversite. Ben birkaç üniversitede çalıştım İngiltere'de ve master'ımı başka bir üniversitede yaptım. Yani benim tecrübeme göre en azından Loughborough, hani Katie'nin dediği gibi gerçekten kampüste yürürken ait hissettiğiniz bir yer. Yani insanların spor yaptığını görünce o ortamı yani hissedebiliyorsunuz gerçekten. Şeyden de bahsetmek istiyorum. İngiltere'ye geldiğinizde beni hani şok değil de şok eden bir tane olay. Para kullanılmıyor. Yani çok kart kullanılıyor İngiltere'de. Ödemeler genellikle hep kart üzerinden yapılıyor. Bazı yerler sadece kart kabul ediyor mesela. O yüzden hani İngiltere'ye geldiğiniz anda birçok öğrencinin ilk önceliği bankada hesap açmak oluyor. Ben mesela online Monzo diye online bir banka var. Oradan bir kart alarak hani o işlemi hızlandırmaya çalışmıştım ki daha hızlı oluyor. Öyle seçeneklere bakmanızı öneririm. Aynı şekilde telefon kartı içinde Giftgaff'tan almıştım ben telefon kartımı mesela. O yurt dışında yolluyor. Yani telefon kartınızı ülkeyi terk etmeden alabiliyorsunuz ki bu da bir avantaj yaratıyor. Yani İngiltere'ye gelir gelmez o iletişimi sağlayabiliyorsunuz ailenizle mesela Türkiye'de. Bir de şeyden bahsedeyim. Kat kat giyinmek İngiltere'de iyi oluyor. Şu an tam onun havasındayız. Mesela soğan havası diyorum ben bu havaya. Hani kat kat giyiniyorsunuz. Çünkü bazen sıcak oluyor, bazen soğuk oluyor. İngiltere'de hava değişiyor böyle birazcık. Ama ona da alışıyorsunuz kısa zamanda. İngiltere'de öğrencilikle ilgili sorularınız varsa ben onları alabilirim. Diğer soruları da Katie'ye yönlendireceğim. Teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkürler Ece. So Katie, is your presentation end as well?
No, I've got a couple more slides, not many.
Okay.
So I'll just run through the last few and then we'll take the questions.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, so just a couple of last slides. So actually some of them are quite important. So scholarships, I think probably a lot of you will want to know about that. So for undergraduate scholarships, we do currently have a 25% merit-based scholarship. So those of you that have already applied, if you get specific grades, it's usually sort of one grade higher than what we've asked you for, you will get an automatic 25% scholarship. For PGT, at the moment, we have the Global Engagement Scholarship, which is 100%. That has closed for this year, so we're actually just doing the shortlisting at the moment. But then we also have a 20% scholarship as well. So there's a 20% merit-based scholarship if you get a 2-1, and then we've also got the Global Impact Scholarship as well. These are automatic scholarships, apart from the Global Engagement one, which is a separate application. Those of you that are thinking of next year, we will also have scholarships for next year. There may be some changes, so you need to just check the website, and don't worry, always check with Study In as well, because we will keep them updated. But we should also have the Global Impact Scholarship, which is the 100% scholarship for next year as well. The deadline for that is usually around the end of April, so just be aware of that for next year, but we'll make sure that we flag all of those with you in due course. So finance and bursaries, as I mentioned, the scholarships. In terms of the international tuition fees, we're kind of looking in the region between about 24,000 up to about 30,000 per year. As I mentioned, we have scholarships. There are also sometimes external scholarships. We currently work with GREAT, which is the British Council scholarship as well. So that might be another one. So always do check our website to see if there's anything available for you. Accommodation fees for undergraduate, they range between about 4,000 to about 8,000. We do have some accommodation that's a little bit more expensive, about 10,000 as well. And that is sort of the high end accommodation. And then we also have postgraduate accommodation, which is again a mix of prices depending on the facilities, whether you want catered or self-catered, and whether you're happy to share the bathroom or whether you want en suite. I will just mention that all of the accommodation is single bedrooms. So I'll just say that again. So you don't have to share with anyone. You just share like an apartment with different students, but you have your own bedroom. The living costs in Loughborough are significantly lower than in a city. Obviously, it's different if you go to our Loughborough London campus, and the living costs will be similar to London. It is slightly outside of London, so a little bit lower than central London. But Loughborough living costs are relatively low, so it's a good way for you to kind of budget. And we do also have opportunities for part-time jobs. Some of our students do student ambassador roles, or maybe work in a coffee shop on campus, just to get a little bit of cash when they're studying with us. I'll also just mention something that we have recently set up at the university. So we are working with a company called Go-In, and they have a app which you can download, and you can join a community of students that are already coming to Loughborough. So for those of you that are coming this year, so if you're coming in 2025, please join this link. You can use the QR code there. You should have had an email already if you are a Loughborough student, a Loughborough applicant, both for Loughborough or Loughborough London, and then you'll be able to meet some other students. And we also have student ambassadors on there to answer your questions as well. So it's another way for you to kind of engage with us and ask your questions. Then just some final points here. So these are kind of my top 3 reasons why I would suggest to consider applying to Loughborough. So the consistent, highly ranked in the top 10. One of the biggest campuses. Our campuses is definitely one of our really attractive points. And then also the fact that we're industry led. So our programs that we teach, you know, they're designed for you to be able to go off and get a good job afterwards. My email address is listed here, but then I've also put some other useful email addresses. So the Global Engagement team, admissions, the accommodation team, and also the visa advice service as well. So feel free to take a screenshot of these. And then finally, we're just going to move on to a Q&A now. I can see that there's some questions come in already, but thank you very much for listening, and we'll take those questions now.
Thank you, Katie and Ece. Yeah, the questions are mostly related after they getting the offer, like before the enrollment. And by the way, I was in Loughborough as well. We already talked about my student Çağatay. He showed me around the university and the accommodation as well. Like it was really like quite lovely town. It was like sunny as well. I really like that. Really, the campus is really good. And the first question, are there any orientation programs before the course starts?
Yes, there are. So there is a quite a lengthy orientation, and it encompasses kind of 2 different things. So we have kind of like the academic orientation. So when students register for the program, some of that they will do in advance. And then when they come to the university, there's a welcome week. And it's a mix of academic orientation and then also a social program as well. So it's designed to get them ready to settle into campus, find out exactly where they need to be, register for all the different practical things like a medical center, also do their kind of course choices. So some of them, if they're studying maybe a master's degree, they'll have some optional modules so they can start to choose those. And then we also do little things like kind of social events so they can get together with the other international students. During that week as well, we have things like a society fair, so they can just go around and join up to different clubs and societies. And then we will also have things like a jobs fair if they want to get some part-time work. They can also register with the employability service, so then they can find out about long-term career support. And that continues throughout. So obviously the first week is a very, very busy week, but then we also do have other activities throughout their time. And this orientation happens at all levels. So if they're coming for foundation or undergraduate, postgraduate, or even research level, we will have an orientation. And we also offer that at both campuses, so down in the Loughborough campus and also at the London campus as well. There's also things like obviously collecting like BRP card and all of that. They can do that at the Loughborough campus itself, so they don't have to go somewhere else, which just makes it quite convenient.
Thank you. How do I apply for on-campus accommodation? Is there any like guarantee accommodation for students?
Yes, there is. Yeah, so there is guaranteed accommodation for international students for at least the first 2 years of undergraduate study. And we do also allow it for postgraduate students to apply as well. The application for accommodation is done via our website. They will need their student ID number. So anyone that's already an offer holder, you should have your student ID number, and then you can use that to submit your application. The deadline for accommodation applications is usually the end of July. So just double check that you don't miss that deadline. And then as long as you apply by that date, as soon as your place is confirmed, if you know, once your grades have come through and you've got your place confirmed, we will then allocate you a place in accommodation. You can also choose where you want to go. So you can put a preference in, and we will try as much as we can to accommodate your choices on that. There are some halls that are more popular than others, but where possible, we will always give you the kind of main choice that you've applied for.
Thank you. What are the deadlines to meet any conditional offer requirements?
Yeah, so this will depend on what level you're applying for. If you're an undergraduate student with UCAS application, you will need to meet pretty much all your conditions by sort of the end of August. Obviously, most students will in the UK get their A-level results in mid-August. We can hold on a little bit, but usually sort of end of September is going to be the cut-off. Sorry, end of August, early September will be the cut-off for that as well. If you're a postgraduate student, it's similar. You will have deadlines. Firstly, to accept your offer. So that will be on your offer letter. It'll tell you when to accept your deadline, but the deadline to accept your offer. If you do miss that, just get in touch with us. It is sometimes possible for us to extend. And then there's also deadlines to send in all of your documentation. And we also have CAS deadlines as well. So if any of you are applying for a visa and you require that CAS, there's deadlines for that as well. So the CAS deadlines are usually, again, middle of August. All of our pre-departure sessions that we will have will highlight all of these deadlines to you, and we will also send all of this out by email. So just make sure you keep checking your emails. I know you're probably getting lots and lots of emails through from lots of different universities, but just try and keep a track of those. We will try as much as we can to let you know, but just be careful to not miss those deadlines.
Thank you. And the next one, how do I arrange tuition fee payments?
Yeah, so in terms of tuition fee payments, they can pay those either in installments or in one go when they arrive at the university. So they don't have to pay the full tuition fees in advance before they arrive. For some courses, there will be a deposit requirement or a deposit for the CAS, but they don't have to pay the full tuition fee. When they arrive in September, we will usually then send an email with an invoice for their tuition fees, and then they can set up a payment plan. And that can be done in termly installments if they would prefer. So not too much for them to worry about until they actually arrive at the university.
All right. And the last question, is the deposit payment refundable? And if so, in which cases?
Okay, so it's generally not refundable, but if there are specific problems or a particular reason why you can't come, you can get in touch with us to let us know. So for example, if you're applying for a visa and your visa gets refused, we will then refund the deposit, for example, or if it could be another situation, if something happens in your country and you're unable to travel, for example, a few years ago, students from Ukraine and they couldn't come, we could then refund those deposits. Do always get in touch with us to ask. Even though we say it's not refundable, obviously there are certain situations that we can. You can also defer your place as well. So say, for example, you decide not to come because you just haven't got everything ready, you can't leave your job in time, or maybe just something in your life has changed. You can get in touch with us and we can defer your place. And that can be done for both undergraduate and postgraduate courses. There's a couple of courses that it's not possible to do that if they're very competitive and we've got too many applications, but just always contact us. Again, you can do that via Study In. You can get in touch with them and they can request that from us at the university.
Thank you, Katie. Maybe I can ask a question to Ece in Turkish. Acaba Turkish Society gibi öğrenci kulüpleri var mı? Ya da sizin en sevdiğiniz kulüp hangisiydi siz okurken?
Benim okuma kısmım biraz Kore'de denk gelmişti. O yüzden ben çok içli dışlı olamamıştım society'lerle. Ama Katie'ye bir yönlendireceğim Turkish öğrenciler açısından. Katie, are there a lot of Turkish students that they can interact with? Are there Turkish societies?
Yeah. So we've had an increasing number of Turkish students over the last couple of years. We've always had applications from Turkish students, but we've had quite a big increase, and that's across all levels. So we've got a lot more now. I think I need to double check the number, but I think we've got close to around 70 to 80 students with us now across both campuses and across all levels. I will double check that and I'll let you know, so you can share that with the students as well. And we do have societies, so we have different student groups. So a Turkish society that students can join up to, and then they can do cultural events. And obviously there's the cultural societies. We have different events on campus designed to kind of meet international students. And actually, if you are coming this year and you join that Go In app, you'll be able to find out the other Turkish students that are joining us, which country they're from, which city they're from, and so you might even be able to make some friends before you come. That's quite good as well. If you're thinking about traveling, you may be able to speak to them and arrange to travel with them over to the campus. So yeah, there's a growing Turkish community. We can, if you want as well, if you want to speak to a specific student, we've definitely got some that are keen, some student ambassadors. There was one that was going to be joining us today, but he's busy doing some volunteering project. But I understand he's happy to maybe speak to some students as well to share his experience.
Thank you so much. So I guess we are at the end of our webinar. Would you like to add anything, Katie or Ece?
I think that's pretty much it from me, just to say a big thank you for hosting the session, and just feel free, at any time, the students that are on here, to get in touch with us, use our kind of emails. We'd be happy to answer more questions. We understand it's a huge step to come and study in the UK, and we're happy to help you at any time. But thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for hosting the session as well. And thank you to Ece for coming along too.
Thank you for your time. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Later.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.